So, Unmesh, to keep it more lively, we've heard mosquitoes, elephant, we've heard job redundancy, we've heard technology transformation, not sure what's going to happen and so on and so forth. If you will also add on a positive narrative towards this technology transformation you're talking about, along with your narrative that you already have in terms of the journey that you're on.
So I think it's a very precarious position, right? When you're on a panel like this with luminaries and then you're the last person and you have to set your narrative, and the belief is that, shit, they've said everything that you thought you wanted to say. But, you also have the responsibility now to be able to, say something which is value adding above and beyond what they've said, but also be the connector of what's going to possibly move forward to. Right? So I think it's a responsibility that you can. But let me try and take a crack at this. And I'm going to try and anchor a bit to what you saw in the opening session where Pramod talked about. He talked about things around the steam engine, he talked about assembly line, automation, the whole gradient of movement, right, if you look at evolution. Now if you look at that, innovation and intellectual capital, they were the drivers of our national wealth. Fair? Everybody agrees to an extent? But now, innovation and intellectual capital themselves are the currency of today. I hope you understand that. But that's a big shift that I am personally experiencing, and I hope all of you are experiencing. The big other thing that we are experiencing over the past and now is, in the past you were seeing one innovation that came in, transformed and evolved and institutionalized, right? What you're seeing now is multiple technologies together. Artificial intelligence, augmented reality, machine, robotics, all of this, cloud, digital, all of this is coming together at the same time in a cohesive manner and disrupting the norms that we thought that we went by in the past. And that has its own implication, right? The bigger implication is this is shifting the way business is being done. It is shifting business models, and we heard this whole example right now of elephants and mosquitoes, of how the mosquitoes are small agile organizations are disrupting the norm and forcing big multinationals as well as large scale organizations to really rethink their operating model and what they're going with. Right? And I think the big shift in movement that is happening around consumerization and experience, right, where what our consumers expect is an experience which is far phenomenal than what they've experienced in the past. The Ubers and the Amazons and the Netflix have completely spoiled us, and that element of personalization, that element of customization is what our clients and our consumers are expecting, not just from services but even from manufacturing, right? We all remember, right? Nike was the first one, possibly I remember, you could customize your shoe the way you wanted, right? Needless to say, all the luxury vehicles, you could do that, right? You're paying a bomb for that. But Nike, you could customize your own shoe. Similarly, now you can customize your own medication to suit your body, right? So you're starting to see so much of disruption happening out there. There's so much change happening, and that obviously has implication on workforce and talent, and therefore HR if you be. I think the big movement here is you're starting to see jobs are going away, and that's a reality, right? We cannot run away from that. The jobs at the bottom of the food chain, which can be automated, which can be where artificial intelligence can help, those jobs are going to possibly, as we move forward, be vanished, are going to move away. But that also has a positive lining to it, right? Where machines and machine intelligence is going to help and augment human capability to do things, and that's a big thing. And by virtue of that, rather than just a job, the role is going to become very significant as we move forward. And when I say role, it's about the content of work that is changing, right? And a class example that comes to my mind, and I talked about it a couple of weeks ago. We all remember when the ATM started going all across, right? The big belief at that point in time was, with the ATMs coming in, the jobs of the tellers in the banks are going to go away. Was that a real fear? Yes or no? But did that really happen? When you go to the banks, do you still not have tellers? But the content of the role has changed. Now when you go to an XYZ bank and you meet a teller, the teller doesn't necessarily sit across a confined cage. but the teller also is making an attempt to cross-sell products of the bank. Have some of you experienced that? Right? The teller is now saying, hey sir, do your family members have accounts with our bank? If not this, have you thought about XYZ things and I can get you to talk to somebody else in the bank? So clearly those jobs are not vanishing, but the nature and content of the roles is changing, and that's what's possibly going to keep happening. The other thing which we have to get real about from an HR standpoint is how are we going to marry man and machine together? Because that's what you're going to start to see in the workforce, where you're going to have bots and you're going to have humans working together, and we truly need to figure out as HR, how do we create an ecosystem that can coexist together? Needless to say, we talked about the millennials coming in, and they're already in. I mean, my organization, a professional services organization, 75% of our talent today is millennials, and that poses its own challenge. But more than the millennials coming in, and I talk right now from an India lens perspective, and I look at old world manufacturing companies and others, where you're going to start to see multi-generational diversity coming into the workforce. How do you create a synergy of leveraging the generations to the strength that they bring and truly harness that to the outcomes that the organization wants? And I think finally, the technology disruption that is happening is like running. How many of you run on a treadmill? I tried running and then I gave up. The whole thing about treadmill doesn't go well. But how many of you run? Treadmill runners, anybody here? There is a particular pace at which you believe you can run, yeah? There's a particular pace that you can stretch run. All agree with that, what I'm saying? When you stretch run, you start to feel a strain on different parts of your body. Starts here first. You start becoming breathless, and there comes a point. What happens then? What happens then? You just falter and fall or give up. Now with the kind of disruption and the agility that you're seeing in the marketplace, talent and workforce is starting to get breathless with the amount of change that is happening. And I think as HR, it's important to start realizing the impact that it is doing on people's energy levels. And I don't know, I come from Mumbai, where traffic sucks. And I'm sure I've lived in Bangalore far too long and worked in Bangalore far too long. The traffic here is no different. But the reality is traffic is no different in any of our metro cities today. And the amount of time we spend commuting back and forward, and then the expectations on the job with the complexity, and Pramod talked about VUCA, I don't know what to get there, but it's creating a sense of loss of energy. When you don't have the energy, physical energy, mental energy, soul energy, heart energy, are you really going to be outcome focused? That's a big move. And technology-wise, it's all great with social media and the connection and WhatsApp and all the kinds of collaboration tools we have. I think the big scary thing here is it's also bringing in a fair amount of loneliness. I'm not sure you guys understand what I'm saying here, right? How many times we're happy chatting with our Facebook friends rather than go out and meet with real friends. It's bringing in a level of loneliness which is scary, and I think there's a lot of things that we need to therefore address from an HR standpoint of how are we looking at the social fabric of our organizations when workforce is going to potentially be gig, workforce is potentially going to feel lonely. There's an element of job losses that's going to happen, but yet there's a positivity by virtue of role enhancement, role enrichment, as well as an opportunity for people to do things that they've never thought about doing differently. So I think that's my context that I am grappling with in my head. Not sure I have the answers to everything, but we are doing some work. We'll talk about it as we move forward through the panel.
Thank you so much, Unmesh. That was insightful. Now, I just thought I'll add one more thing to it. How many of us, first thing when we wake up, either to the left or the right from the bed, but make sure that we pick up our mobile and check our WhatsApp and Facebook, right? And right from waking up to brushing to whatnot, what color? Yeah. Okay, Unmesh. Thank you. Just to stay relevant on what Unmesh and Surya and all of you alluded to, if one of you could help us understand the role content better in the changing world of what we've been hearing all these two, right? VUCA world, the mosquitoes coming in an agile environment and disrupting the ways of working, the millennials, Capt, you spoke about the hot, high on technology. If one of you could help this gathering know about what is the role content going to be for HR, right, the way forward?
For HR or the workforce?
The workforce in general, yeah.
I'm going to kick this off, and I'm sure you guys could add. But I think the three roles that I see, right, as we move forward with robotics and AI playing as aggressively as they're going to be, I think there are three roles, and we talk about it in our technology vision and blueprint. The three jobs of the future really are trainers, explainers, and sustainers. Right? I'm going to repeat. Trainers, explainers, and sustainers. Trainers, basically in my mind, are people who are translating what's in the human intellect into machines. So you're teaching machines, you're trying to form algorithms, trying to build an element of predictability through use of algorithms. So that's the whole space of training the machine to behave the way you believe you want it to behave. This is the first bit. Second is also about ensuring that the big belief is that the machines may not be able to do 100% of the job that you expect them to do, and therefore there's an output that the machines throw out, which you need somebody to look at and be able to contextualize in the way it makes sense to the organization or it makes sense to the outcome that you're talking about. So the last mile is where the exercise of judgment, the exercise of gut, that's the place where you're taking that output of the machines and truly contextualizing it and making it relevant to the context. That's the second bit around the explainers bit. This third bit is around sustainers. And what I mean by sustainers is, how do you ensure the machines are behaving the way that they need to behave? How are you ensuring that there is no, we are right now grappling with some of those issues, right? With Aadhaar saying, how secure is it, how insecure is it? And we've had multiple such instances of data being leaked and stuff like that. But I think the whole space around sustainers is, how do you ensure that what is now being mined is being done in a manner which is ethical and right? I think the data governors, ethics and compliance is going to be becoming very big as you move forward. And those three, I think, are big jobs, right? I think, and this will start creating a plethora of jobs around analytics and other stuff. But I think those three, in my viewpoint, are how the jobs are going to change from a content standpoint as you move forward.
So I'll take a stab at it. And taking a cue of what you just said about trainers, I started my career as a trainer, and today I'm not exactly the definition that you gave, but my trainers are found in the circus. They make the lion sit from one stool to the other stool. So I think you don't need trainers anymore. Not in that context, of course, in the classical sense of what I belong to an R&D function. We are the company of very young, energetic people who are the now workforce. And I would like to use this example of a Friday evening rave party experience versus a Monday morning Holocaust. Okay? And when I say that, it means that Friday evening, when a lot of our people from our organization step out of that gate server, that campus, you are engulfed with this huge rave party experience of everything on the tape, everything on a seamless platform. You are seamless, right? Monday morning, you come back to your organization and you have to make 5 different sign-ons to get into and see a video. That's an Holocaust moment, I call it. And that kind of differs. I would very quickly touch upon 5 key areas that I think would summarize my thoughts on this. The first is, I think we are seeing the beginning of the end of HR teams. Okay? When I say this, there are 3 subsets of communities that are coming up. One is called a clan. So we have these WhatsApp different groups which are clans of a common function. Then you have something which is called as a tribe, which is a subset of a few clans become like these kind of forums, which is a tribe that you are talking about, workforce management, HR, other stuff. And then you have something called as a guild. And the guild is a guild would give you a purpose. Remember, today's workforce has a very clear cut of a purpose. And that's, I think, I echo with what he says was between a job and a role. There's a difference between a job and a role now. And a working woman is a classic example of a role that she plays through a day when she takes up the different jobs that she does. So there is a massive difference between a job and a role. That is the first. It's the beginning of an end of a classical homogeneous teams, and I get shouted at when I say the human remains or human resources. Okay, so what does it stand for? Second one is, I think, hyper-personalization. It is a large set of data being able to give you very contextualized content in a very hyper-personalized manner. The way you see Amazon is different from the way I see it, or the way you see Netflix is different from I see it, but it's a massive database of stuff. It is hyper-personalized content.